Welcome back to AgriTalk here in Nashville, Tennessee. Commodity Classic as we wrap up our coverage today. And we have a lot more to cover coming up on AgriTalk Online right after our broadcast. But here we're very happy to talk with Craig Abell, crop specialist for Syngenta. He covers Illinois, Indiana, southern Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas, even a part of Nebraska. So quite a region. We talked a lot during the course of last year in advance of the Farm Progress Show, and have a chance here to talk about a number of different things. And you were telling me, Craig, that farmers are really interested in weed management, concerned about resistant weeds, and you have some planter boxes, I believe, here in the exhibit area, and farmers saying, got that, how do I get rid of that? Is that a big topic of conversation?
Yeah, that's been most of our time was spent so far at the trade show doing that, but we have some planter boxes, and we actually have Palmer amaranth. So as we look across the Midwest corn growing areas, we're pretty familiar with water hemp, and it's really been a problem for us. And as we look at the southern tip of Illinois, where this Palmer amaranth is starting to migrate in from the south, we've actually found a way to control the water hemp. The Palmer amaranth will actually choke out the water hemp. But yeah, we have a demonstration at our booth where we can help growers identify what the weed looks like and how it's different from water hemp. And then we talk about weed management programs. And as we getting close to headed into spring, you know, that's sort of on the forefront of everybody's mind.
Many farmers, their area, they've had a mild winter, and there's been a lot of talk. Will that bring on even more problems this spring, not only with weeds but insects? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple weeks ago I moved the snowblower to get my motorcycle out. That's how it's been. But yeah, as we look at things like rootworm, bean leaf beetles, you know, that's going to be a problem. We've had a super mild winter. And then also is diseases. You know, as we look at our corn-on-corn geographies, we've got, you know, pretty heavy residue there, and a lot of residue for disease to overwinter as well. So, you know, weeds are going to be a problem. We have a very big seed bank based on coming off of last year, because as our crop went backwards, some of the water hemp, Palmer amaranth, some of these weeds tend to thrive in those types of environments. So we've got a big seed bank, and we have a real good setup for other pests as well. So.
Which will make it even more important. It's always important, but even more important then to make sure you have a good weed management program in place, and, you know, don't get behind right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's probably the number one message is have a clean field at planting time. And you can use alternative modes of action to do that. We recommend gramoxone in that early window, because you remove some of the selection pressure off of glyphosate. At the same time, we're recommending full rates of residual herbicides, pre-emergence, products like Lexar and Lumax. The days where we could put a half rate or a partial rate out and come back with glyphosate, those days are kind of over across the Midwest. So we're recommending full labeled rates. And then as we plan post-applications, we want to spray weeds that are 4 inches tall or less. And that's very critical as well on the timing.
A lot of talk about glyphosate-resistant weeds, and we've talked about this before. Fortunately, there are options, you know, combinations and things you can do to take care of that problem.
Yeah, and it requires management. We've been spoiled for a few years, and it's not that far-fetched. A mechanical weed control is going to be in our future. You know, I got my start in weed science was with a hoe and a weed hook as a young kid, and then worked my way up to a cultivator. And I think we'll see that across the Midwest in some areas where we have, you know, 1 or 2 escapes can cause us a huge problem in certain areas. So really one escape is too many as we look at managing some of these resistant weeds.
We're talking with Craig Abell, crop specialist for Syngenta. Let's talk about really a change in approach, I think, by Syngenta. You're going from a product base to more of a solution base. What does that mean?
Well, we've gone through some changes this past year. Instead of having a bunch of silos that everybody tended to work in, where we had a specific product we were trying to promote or steward, we look at it from the approach of the acre. So what can we do to help the grower optimize the performance on his acre? One example of that, we have Artesian, which is a drought-tolerant hybrid, but we're developing a solution where we're looking at the holistic approach to that acre. So we call it a water optimization program. So we manage weed control. Seed care will be a part of that. The dryland areas tend to have a lot of nematode pressure. And then as we look at later in the season, utilizing fungicides for a physiological boost in disease control as well. So really looking at a package to go to the acre and help the grower solve all of his problems as opposed to selling one particular product.
We hear more and more about that, looking at a total program. And because so often maybe one piece of the puzzle's been missing or lacking a little bit, and that is very costly. And at these prices, no one wants to lose out. So you want to have that total package, make sure each piece is fully taken care of, so you maximize your chances for full potential of those yields.
Yeah, I mean, and one of good examples this past year where we had a lot of corn-on-corn acres in Illinois and Iowa, and those acres struggled. And so, we're developing a solution to go on those acres to help a grower optimize his nutrients, optimize his seed production, manage rootworms. That's been a huge challenge, and that will be a challenge going forward. But we have solutions to solve that problem, but we have to take a proactive approach. Some of those things we can't go back and rescue later. So as we look at the market, put the package together so it's a total solution and really gives the grower a peace of mind. He doesn't have to go out and look for some puzzle or piece of the puzzle. So.
And really, that peace of mind, you're not trying to catch up all the time. Oh, here's a fire I got to put out during the course of the year. You've kind of already planned out for what could happen.
Yeah, you mentioned resistant weeds. A proactive approach is $30 an acre or $35 an acre. A rescue approach could be $100 an acre, and then you're still going to have a decreased yield in that rescue environment. So, by being proactive, you could save, over $100 an acre just by planning that season. So.
I mentioned that you cover quite an area: Illinois, Indiana, southern Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas, part of Nebraska. What's the moisture situation headed into spring? A lot of those areas dry?
It's still really dry. I had a couple of conversations last night, but Lake Decatur is a pretty good example. In August, you could just about walk across it in Illinois, and we haven't caught up in some of those areas. I'm working on some solution pilots in Kansas and talking with growers out there, and they're behind from a moisture aspect as well. So we need some spring rains. We don't need any more tornadoes, but we need some spring rains to catch up our moisture bank.
Yeah, I think a lot of the areas, some of the rains we've had have helped topsoil, but that subsoil moisture, those reserves, aren't there as they've been in the past in a lot of those areas.
Yeah, and it seems like without the snowpack, it seems like you get more infiltration of water when you have snow as opposed to heavy rain. So yeah, we need a slow, long drawn out rain here to catch us up. So.
Every year presents its own set of challenges. That's why have that complete program in place, working with the folks at Syngenta for whatever comes up, right?
Yeah, we want to plan ahead. We want to try to foresee what can cause us problems in the course of the growing season and put that plan in place in the beginning of the year, and that way we can plan for complete success.
Bottom line, you want smiles at harvest time.
That's exactly right. You want everybody to be happy at harvest. That's without a doubt.
Good to see you again. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your time.
That's Craig Abell, crop specialist for Syngenta, again covering Illinois, Indiana, southern Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas, and even a little bit of Nebraska. With that, we will wrap up our broadcast from here at Commodity Classic in Nashville, Tennessee, but we have much more to come. If you join us at agritalk.com, we have our online interviews, several of them coming up. And if you can't join us online right now, you can go to the website anytime. They'll be up there for quite some time as John gets them posted. And in the days to come, you'll be able to watch them. We later will try to find our way out of the Opryland Hotel and hope that the weather cooperates for our trip back to the studios. Thanks very much for being with us. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage of Commodity Classic as corn, soybean, wheat, and sorghum growers have come together in record numbers here at this year's meeting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Adams. Have a great weekend, everyone. This is AgriTalk, the voice of rural America.